Welcome into the latest edition of Extra Time. We have Ali Moreno, Stevie Nicol and Frank Leboeuf with us. Last time I was on with Ali and Frank, we had a lot of talk about moons.
Oh!
Moons.
Oh!
Yes, Stevie.
Yeah, well, Frank's moons.
Yes.
Is that because of the bonnets?
No, it's not this part of the body.
No.
It's just more like backside.
Frank revealed a little bit more than maybe we would have liked to have known
Yes,
about Emmanuel Petit.
Oh,
Yes.
right. Oh, I heard. Yeah.
Yes. Anyway.
Yeah, and I talked to him about it, and what I said about it, in the show, he wasn't that happy. I don't know why,
Why would he
I
be?
don't understand people, They have to take full responsibility for their acts, so
Exactly.
whatever, he doesn't want to wear underwear, that's his own problem, whatever.
He just said it again.
Yes. He's so unhappy that I'm going to say it again.
Yep, there you go. We love you, Frank. We love having you on Extra Time.
By the way, I want to
gosh.
show you something, in my play, and I don't know if you see it.
Oh,
that's my new play, and you see my underwear.
Yes.
The French flag.
No. Yeah. Okay. Raise the picture. You're wearing sandals, just like Dan. You're wearing flops, just like Dan. Come on, Frank.
That's because it's a comedy. Because I look stupid. Like that. Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
Should come naturally then.
What are French flip-flops called?
I have no idea.
Philippe Phillips.
Philippe Phillips.
Sorry.
I know, bud.
No,
Used it
that's
before, but I knew I'd get
culotte
a
is
laugh
for
out of
women.
Stevie.
That culotte is for women. Sleep are for men. Sleep.
Sleep.
Yeah, I don't think Frank got the joke.
I think you got lost in translation.
I don't think Frank got the joke.
Sorry, I didn't hear the beginning of it.
It's fine. It went
Okay.
down like a lead balloon last time, but I know I can always rely on Stevie to give me a little pity laugh. All right. Despite Antony's inconsistent first season, do you think he will fulfil his potential at Manchester United? Ale.
Oh, I thought you were going to ask Philippe Philip. Well, depending on what you think his potential is. Antony has always been hot and cold. And you just look at what his record has been, and he dazzles you with the skills and what he potentially can be. But if you think this is a guy that is going to be scoring 15 goals for you, I don't quite think that that's realistic. But what you want him to be is an impactful player with substance, with end product. I think Manchester United fans would want more of that than what they have seen so far.
Stevie, who's your Premier League manager of the season so far?
Eddie Howe.
Oh.
Did anybody see Newcastle sitting in third? I think they were in second for
Yes,
a
they
couple
were.
of minutes last week. Did anybody see Newcastle being where they are, playing how they are?
Why are you so anti-Arteta?
Yeah.
Yeah, why?
Oh, of course,
Why,
Arsenal,
Stevie?
Forgot about Arsenal.
Why did you forget about Arsenal?
Here's the thing. Just devil's advocate, right? The fact that Arsenal's got 50 points at the halfway mark, I will have to change and say Arteta. But you could have a good argument, right? That where Newcastle have gone from when Eddie Howe started to where they are now, you could have an argument about who's done a better job. Because Arteta, no question, has better tools than Eddie Howe to work with. But yet Newcastle find themselves, as I said, they were in second place just for a little short spell. So I'm going to go with Arteta.
Oh, you're going to go with that?
But, as I said, you could have a good argument about Eddie Howe.
You seem like you're having that argument right now in your head, Stevie.
Well, I am, because it's hard to see past Arteta.
It's a
I
big
was just
mess
saying you could have a
inside.
good argument. All right.
Hey.
Right, Arteta.
All right, here we go. We got that.
This is one of those where he'll be laid in bed tonight and he'll still be like letting it bother him. Frank.
I understand the big mess inside Stevie's head because Eddie Howe does and makes a beautiful job for Newcastle. But you cannot argue what Arteta is nowadays doing with Arsenal in such a short time, changing almost everybody, putting a very nice team selection and doing great and being the first in the Premier League. So I think No, for me, there is no argument. I think the best coach so far is Arteta.
Next question. Ale, what do you make of McKennie joining Leeds United if it crosses the finish line? Is it a good fit for both parties? Also, is Leeds United now the unofficial team for all USA soccer fans?
Yeah, it's United States of Leeds. It's what's becoming. And this is a discussion that we had on digital earlier, and I would just say this. If you're Weston McKennie, regardless of the mess that is currently going on at Juventus, it's still one of the most recognizable brands in European football. Juventus is. And you're going to a team that is going to be fighting to stay up. Because that's the picture where Leeds are right now. That's the place where they are. They're not quite safe. They're going to be in the conversation up until they string a run of results, which we haven't seen so far. So you're going to go from Juventus, recognizable brand in Europe, to Leeds to go fight against relegation. I don't know how messy of a mess it is in Juventus, but I'd rather stay in that mess than go into a mess with a team that could potentially go down. That's my perspective from a player, that I'll stay with Juventus and try to fight it out here, try to figure it out here up until I have something better lined up. Leeds, it's a move downwards from Juventus.
All right. Have any of the guys ever had a day at a club whilst they experienced such a bad day like Everton did yesterday? If yes, what was it like? Danjuma rejected them, Bielsa didn't want the job, Moshiri put them up for sale, Anthony Gordon to Newcastle, Onana to Arsenal links also emerging. Stevie, can you ever remember having an awful day at a football club like this?
Not as bad as that. No. I've had some bad days. But in terms of football, no, it's pretty unprecedented. It really is.
It's up there, isn't it?
Yes.
Frank?
Nothing. Well, we lost in the, I think it was FA Cup against, or League Cup against Bolton. And the same day we had the loss and the death of Matthew Harding at the club, the vice president. That was an awful day. And he died on the chopper crash, and that was awful because we wanted to go through. We thought we could go through with a game against Bolton, even if it was away from home. And on top of it, we lost our vice president, a great guy, and that was awful. The day after, we all went to Stamford Bridge, and it was awful. And yeah, I will always remember that day. It was beginning for me being at Chelsea, and that's one of the saddest days as a football player.
Absolutely. All right, Frank, let me stay with you. Would a win against City in the FA Cup for Arsenal give them even more confidence that they can go on and win the league? And could a loss for City give them less confidence beating Arsenal in the league later on this season?
Well, winning against Man City away from home at the Etihad Stadium, yes, of course, going to be a big boost for the Gunners. But losing, it depends how they lose, how much they lose, the way they lose. If they are smashed like 4-0, that can create damages in their head. Don't forget, it's a very young team. So a little thing, can crack the enthusiasm that they have, and change the way they're gonna play their football. They're gonna think their football. So losing can create damages. Winning can be a very good boost.
Ale, does a cup game play into these league games between these two?
I understand what Frank is saying, and I agree that if they go and lose and get destroyed, then I think that kind of creates this uncertainty that you didn't have before. However, a loss or a win in the FA Cup doesn't improve or lessen the amount of points and the distance that you have between you and Manchester City. So I think it's about feelings. It's a very subjective impact rather than an objective one. So if I'm Mikel Arteta and we happen to lose a competitive game, against Manchester City away from home and said, this things can happen. Regardless, we still have a lead in the league. And the league is still about us. And we don't fear anybody, and we can play against anybody. So I don't know how direct of a connection there is and how objective on a connection there is. There's some subjectivity there, but I think it's a connection that is very tenuous at best.
Is there an argument to make that you could make your mistakes there in a cup game and then correct it for your league games?
Yeah. I don't remember ever thinking a cup game and a league game were anywhere similar, even although it was against a team that we might be up against in the league. It's a completely different outlook. You look at the game in a completely different way than you do to a league game, 100%. I don't disagree that getting beat 6-0 and you play both first teams doesn't dent the confidence. But as far as the way you look at the game, never looked at them both the same at all, ever.
Frank, why do you call the people you don't like Mister?
I know what Don Hutchinson's list is referring to. I don't dislike Mr. Potter. That's why I call him Mr. Potter. I think it's really, I don't know him, never met him, and I want to pay respect to anybody. I don't know why I call him Mr. Well, you know, in Italian players, they call their coaches Misters. And that's something they do with everybody. And Mr. Ancelotti is called Mr. Gianluca was my friend, so I called him Gianluca, but Mr. Ranieri, I used to call him either Mr. or Coach. So I don't dislike Mr. Potter or Graham Potter because I don't know him, and it's just a mark of respect.
He always calls Stevie Mr. Nicol.
Oh,
yeah.
Hello. So he must really respect you, or...
I do.
Or he thinks I'm old.
I know, I do.
Yes. Oh, well, yes.
Last question. I might need Ale's help with this. For Kay, now that you're a US citizen, will you be supporting any MLS team? When I first came to the country 10 years ago, I said I must choose an MLS team, and I had lots of people helping me out and telling me why it should be their team and why it should be this team. But I'll be honest, nothing ever stuck still to this day with me.
Okay. Now you have more options than you did 10 years ago, let me tell you. we're going to 30 teams here in MLS fairly soon. Columbus Crew, what else you want?
Columbus Crew.
But it doesn't really attract you. But you lived in Miami for a long time.
And I started to get really involved and want to support into Miami, but then we moved away, and it's just, you know, you're a little bit away from it.
It doesn't feel like you're very committed to this decision one way or another.
It does depend where you stay, though.
Right.
But when I lived in Boston, I knew all the Patriots players, and I knew all the Red Sox players.
Too bad you didn't know your own players.
Since I've come to Connecticut, I mean, it's a good, 12 years now. I hardly know any of the players now. You lose that connection or whatever it is, no question.
It's all about Hartford Athletic, all right?
Okay, well...
They're not in the MLS.
Okay, no, they're not,
I have a
so
question
you're not answering
for
the question.
If you don't mind, okay, I want to know if you think your mighty team is going to go back to the Premier League next season, Middlesbrough.
Right.
No chance.
I hope they will. I definitely think they're going to make the playoffs, and so I'm going to stay confident that we'll get a big surprise, a turnaround this season, because Michael Carrick came in, and that we'll end up somewhere we didn't expect.
And then you'll wake up.
Maybe.
I wish you the
But
best.
you got to dream high.
Right, but you see how much knowledge and interest and investment there is in Middlesbrough, right?
Always.
Yeah.
And you're thousands of miles away.
It doesn't feel like you have anywhere near that interest in any MLS team.
Maybe one day. Maybe one day.
Well, commit to it.
Well, if my kids pick one, I'll go with them, all right?
Okay.
We'll be back tomorrow
I was non-committal.
to see if I've decided on an MLS team. Join us then.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.